What's going on, everybody? Who do we have on here? Let's see. Loretta, I have not heard from you in a very long time. How you doing? Rigo G, Albert, Lashana, Christy, see, Mark Adamson, Bethany, Melanie, Steve, Derek, Yashika, let's see, Elizabeth, Justice, Angela. Interesting topic today. Something I think that needs to be addressed. If you are easily offended, then this might not be for you. Think of it like when I do my late night crypto talks and the topic that night is sex. And some of you guys get, your panties in a bunch over that. Oh my gosh, Brandon's talking about sex and crypto. What's going on? Angel Nieves, Melanie. All right. Here's the topic. Religion, politics, and business. Do they mix? Should they be expressed? I'll start from the beginning. I was taught, and then I learned by experience, that the two most polarizing topics in the world is politics and religion. The most segregated time in America is Sunday morning and election day, when people go to the polls to vote Democrat or Republican, or you go to church. And that's just, it's not right or wrong. It is what it is. That's just people. People believe what people believe, and everybody has a right to their own personal belief, no matter how insane you may think it is. I used to be a very angry young man growing up, learning about history and learning about how things work in this world and what my place in it was. And my debate coach back in high school taught me a very good lesson, and it's a lesson that I live by to this day. And he said one word. He said, Brandon, one word: empathy. Empathy. And with empathy comes everything else. And so what he means by that is, he said, if you ever want to win a debate, then it is not enough for you to become a master of your own personal belief. That's not enough. What you need to do is become a master of the other person's belief. You need to understand their belief. You need to try to put yourself in their shoes. You need to show empathy for their cause. Doesn't mean you have to adopt it, but you need to at least understand it. And then become a master at it, which means you want to be able to express their point of view, no matter how insane it is, better than they do. And he taught all of us that, and that's what I'm proud to. He passed away last year, old debate coach, Mr. Ballingall. But 20-something years later, I go back to my old high school, and their debate team is still winning titles, winning championships, always winning. Their debates are at the top in the state of California and even nationally, because they follow that motto. We would spend more time learning about our opponent's point of view and then practicing debating as if we're on our opponent's side than we did debating our own point of view. It's like, all right, those of you who like rap, if you ever watched 8 Mile, when Eminem was on stage and his opponents harped on the fact that he was a white boy in a black neighborhood trying to, what they consider co-opt the culture. And how he was able to win that battle, that rap battle, was the last guy who came up, Eminem dissed himself. He said, I know all the things you're about to say about me. What else you got? I know everything you're going to say about me. And he took the words out of his opponent's mouth, and there was nothing that his opponent could say. So, living my life, and after going to Morehouse, and Morehouse teaches this as well, the word empathy, putting yourself in the other person's shoe. And that has helped me out a lot. So when it comes to business, and I said that all to lead up to this, when we're talking about religion and politics, Business 101 is you stay away from religion and politics, because by doing so, you're marginalizing your base. You are cutting off half of your potential customers. You're pissing off one half while you are, catering to the other half. And so you generally, keep it generic. You don't want to get too much into religion and politics, because at the end of the day, money doesn't care what your religious beliefs are. Money doesn't care what your political beliefs are. And we all have the same goal. No matter what your beliefs are, our ultimate goal is we want a better life for our family financially. So if you want to have a global business, then you must be able to kind of straddle that fence, keep your emotions in check on a public level when it comes to business. And I've lived by that model for 20 years in this space. However, and I said this earlier, there's always a but. There are two things that I will never compromise on. One of those things is my own personal religion, meaning that I make no bones about it. I don't hide the fact that I am a Christian, that I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Now, I don't need to go on Facebook and talking about that 24/7, nor do I need to infuse it in my business. See, the one thing I hate is when marketers out there attempt to infuse Christianity into their business as if what they're doing is ordained by God. And if you don't join them, then you're going against God. Or everything that they do is because they got the word of God. God told them to do this. Therefore, they're embarking on this business, a specific business path. And that if you follow them, you're also following God's path. And if you call them out on their BS, then they turn around and say, by calling me out, you're speaking against God because God told me to do this. So how dare you? Who are you to call me out when God told me to do this? And then they call you a snake in the grass. And you know people out there like that. I'm not going to call no names. The old me would have called your name out right now, but I'm not going to call any names out because they're out there. Some of them listen to me. They don't listen to me live. They wait till the recording so they don't know I know they're listening to me, but they're listening to me. I hate those people out there that do that. So I don't do that. I do state that I had faith in God. I followed what he told me to do and it saved me. I'll say that, but I'm not going to put my religion on you as if you don't do what I do, then you're in the wrong for it. You're going against God. Because everybody has a different path. God gave us all different gifts, different passions in life. And just because you choose to go another path that God told you to go, doesn't mean that the path I'm on is wrong or right. Everybody's a different individual. So I stay away from religion on that aspect, but I am not ashamed to state my religious affiliation. When it comes to politics, though, I'm a little bit more restrictive. I try hard, very, very, very hard to keep my mouth shut on my own political beliefs. Anytime that I do say anything that has to do with politics, I am speaking from a factual base, not my own personal belief. So it doesn't matter who I'm speaking about, whether it's Obama, whether it's Trump, whether it's Reagan, Clinton, Bush. I always speak from a historical and a factual basis, not alternative facts, not lies or in a misdirection. Straight fact of what is actually taking place from a neutral standpoint. So it doesn't matter which side you believe. The fact remains the same no matter what side you're on. Facts are the facts. But I try very hard not to interject myself on social media on public policies. And it goes against my nature because I'm a political science major from Morehouse College. You know, I worked in government. So that's my thing. You know, I can talk all day long about politics. Geopolitics. I do talk about geopolitics when it comes to crypto because it's going to affect our bottom line. It's going to affect our money. So I do, but I don't speak from a fact of right or wrong. I speak from a fact of this is what it is. And here's how we need to adapt to what is going on right now. How to benefit financially, no matter who's in office, no matter what the current policy of the White House is, how can we benefit from it, regardless of if I believe it's right or not. I do that, and every now and then I still get people that that take offense to that. Like if we had the Bitcoin boot camp in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and on stage I did make a couple of political references, but again, it wasn't about one way is right or wrong. It was knowing who my audience was and stating a fact. So I know how to walk that fine line. But and always there's a but in there. But I will not and I will never compromise when it comes to racism. I will never compromise on that. And I will always speak out on racism and when I see wrong being done to other human beings, irregardless of politics. There's right, there's wrong, and there's politics. Unfortunately, a lot of people take politics and treat it like religion. So even if something is blatantly, humanly wrong, if it goes against your political beliefs, you will find a way to justify it as correct. So you got to be, that's why I don't get into that. Very careful with that. But when it comes to racism, I will not sit on the sidelines because I want to protect my check. And I don't want to piss off the racists who may be in my business, or future racists who future may be business partners that can help make me a whole lot of money. Now, so I want to use an example. Yesterday, I made a post. Well, I didn't make the post. I shared the post of an image of a Latino boy in a cage. It's explicitly said that the image was false. Well, not relevant to the current immigration thing, because it had to do with something else. But my point was not the image of the boy in the cage. My point was the comments being made by the people commenting on that image. And it ended up being deleted by Facebook. Now, I don't know if Facebook deleted the whole thing themselves or if somebody reported me as it being offensive and deleted it. Either way, I reposted it again later on. And I always find when I do things like that, I like to sit back and just watch the reaction. I'm a people person, a people watcher. And I like to just watch people's reaction. And you had, some people were like, I can't believe the way these people responded. I mean, they called the kid a monkey. They said that he's only good as an organ donor. They said he needs to electrocute the cage. They said, they need to do more of this. He was an animal. It was an it. not a human being. And again, that's where empathy comes in. So let me state a fact, and this is very, very rare that I will share this. I personally believe in strong border security. I always have. I personally have no issue or problem if there was a wall on the border. I believe that we need to have legal immigration. I believe that we are a nation of immigrants, and that if done the right way, it can continue to prosper. I do not believe that we need to have a nation of open borders. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in just anybody can come across the border to have a better life. I believe that everybody should have the opportunity to, if done the right way and by following our laws. I agree with that. So people automatically assume that I'm an open borders guy because I'm speaking against, certain things. No, I'm very strong. I live in California. I know how our economy is hit based on illegal immigration. I know how our emergency rooms, try to go to the emergency room at 2 in the morning, and you'll have a lot of immigrants or illegal immigrants that use it as basic care. I know how it is impacting us. I also know the benefits that they bring, which is why both Republicans and Democrats have never been hard or really enforceful on immigration. But at the same time, I also have empathy. I understand and know why they're coming here. I know why they're fleeing their country. I know the persecution that they're going through, the lack of opportunity, the fear for their life. Because if I was in their shoes, I would do the same exact thing. So I don't look down upon them as a second-class human beings or illegal invaders, or, they're not worth our compassion. So you can be strong for border security and at the same time have compassion and empathy for their cause. It's not one or the other. And that there can be a way, and this is the government's job to do, Congress and the president, to have a humane way of having border security. Because here's a fact. United States of America has one of the most open borders in the entire world. The Mexican border, I saw an article that talked about the European border, the tip of Africa going into Spain, the most militarized border in the world. Every other nation has stronger border security than we do. So we are not bad guys for saying we want strong border security. But it all is in how you're doing it at the same time. The how. And images of ripping children apart from their mothers. That brings back images of something that the United States of America has been doing since its inception. From the Indians' relocation, to the slave trade, to here we are now in 2018 and live on TV, we're seeing it happen again. So, what the word empathy is, for those of you who lack it, or for whatever reason you feel you just can't understand it or accept it, take politics out for a second. And you have images of children in cages in internment camps, like we ain't learned our lesson from the Japanese in World War II. And have human compassion for a moment and take politics out of it. That's the problem I have. When you see comments like, well, if you don't want your children to be ripped from you, then don't cross the border. Or this argument, well, if I go and rob somebody's house and I have my kid with me, I'm breaking the law. And as a result, I go straight to jail and my kid is ripped from me. And you're trying to equate that to the same thing as illegal immigrants crossing the border, breaking our law. Therefore, the kid is ripped away from you. It is not the same thing. by far, and you know it is not the same thing. You know it, but to fit your political belief, then that's what you say, to justify it. And when Jeff Sessions tried to quote the Bible by saying that God has demanded that we obey the law of the land because the government is ordained by God, and yes, that part of the verse is biblical, but you need to keep reading where it continues to say, but at the same time, we need to love our neighbors as if they are our own, especially those that are weaker than us. That is godly. That is love. That verse that he said, was also used to justify slavery, to justify the ripping of families apart in slavery. And you know what the good American citizens at that time, the ones that didn't own any slaves, the ones that say, my ancestors weren't slaves, do you know what they said during that time, how they justified that? They said, well, we don't believe that they're humans anyway. They're only 3/5 of a man, so their rights don't apply as far as biblical law because they're not even human, they're cattle. And they're able to sleep good at night because in their eyes, I don't need to stand up for this injustice because they're not human. They're not fully a man. So you use the Bible to justify slavery. Why? Because slavery was the law of the land. So therefore, if you try to rescue slaves, if you try to end slavery, you're going against the law of the land, therefore you're going against God. That was the argument. And I'm seeing that same thing today. If you watched the White House press conference the other day, Secretary, I forgot her name, and she said, when they were asked specifically about ripping children away from their parents, and her response was, it's the law of the land. I mean, I've changed the law. My hands are tied. The Civil Rights Movement, when the South was supposed to be desegregated when kids were going to school, and people were like, it's the law of the land for segregation. It's the law of the land. The law of the land doesn't necessarily mean it's right. So the problem I have as far as racism is concerned, whether it's overt or covert racism, where somebody is more offended by the fact I posted a picture that the picture wasn't true than they were offended by the comments in the picture. You're more offended by that because you don't have empathy for the people and what they're going through. I have a 10-year-old son. I can't imagine him being ripped from me and him trying to understand what that is all about and what that means. I can't imagine that. You know, your own children. So there is politics, and then there is empathy. And if you sit quiet and say that, well, you know, I'm all about money, therefore I'm not going to speak on this because I don't want to offend, you know, let's just call it what it is, the racists out there who are approving of this because I want their money, then you are no better than them. You're allowing this to proliferate itself. I posted another image the other day, and again, I'm walking a fine line on here because I'm not speaking on for or against. But I posted an image of white baseball players. Give me a second, I got a gardener coming by me. All right. I posted an image of white baseball players in the 50s taking a knee during the national anthem. Oh my gosh! How dare they disrespect the flag and the anthem like that, and for all our forefathers and military has died for and given them opportunity. How dare you disrespect the flag? You know why they were protesting? They were protesting lynchings, the injustice of lynchings of African Americans. They were white baseball players. But the silent majority is more offended by the inconvenience of seeing somebody protest the grand old national flag than they are at the injustice of what they're protesting for in the first place. And the reason why they're able to do that is because they lack... Hold on, let me let this guy go past me again. The reason why they're able to do that is because they lack empathy. Empathy. The ability to feel the pain that another human being is going through. Why? Because it ain't me. And what set me off yesterday is I got a private message from somebody that said, Brandon, I mean, man, you all fired up, man, but I don't understand, man. They're not even black. They're Mexican. They're not even back. They're El Salvadorian. They're not even black. Why do you care? And I'm like, the real question is, why don't you care? Why don't you care? And I know the answer to that already. Because it ain't my people. That's why he don't care. It ain't him. When I see evil, I speak on it. I don't care if they're black or white or Latino or Asian. And it always gets me when someone wants to add more. I don't care if they're red, white, green, blue, or purple. Cut that. Oh, I'm about to curse right here. Cut that crap out. There is no such thing as purple. All right? White, black, Asian, Latino. They're human beings. And so your inability to have empathy is the problem. I don't have a problem. I don't have issue with the racists because I know where they stand. At least they're brave enough to stand up and say what they believe in. They have a right to do so. I can argue their point better than they can. Some of you racists out there are ignorant. You don't know history. But if I was in your shoes, I can argue your point better than you. What? I ain't going to do it right now because I'm going to give you ammunition. But if I was a racist, I understand why they're afraid. I understand why they're scared. I understand why they want to make America great again. I understand why they want to make America white again. I understand their grievances from their point of view. I can argue their point better than they can on their point of view. It's not a matter of right or wrong on that. It's a matter of your lifestyle. What type of community you want to have for yourself and your family. And you have every right to do so. If you want your neighborhood and family to be all white, you have a right to want to believe that. So, I mean, really? So what I will not stand for and sit idly by is, and I will call people out for having lack of empathy. The ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and care for another human being that doesn't look like you. And I'm coming to a point now that I'm 41 years old and I've experienced a lot of life and I've seen a lot. I'm coming to a point, and I don't know if I even should say this, it's controversial. I shared this with Greg Thurman. Are they even able to have empathy? Is that a trait that this certain group is impossible to have? And I know that can't be true, because you can't be the majority for all. But the only way I could see that is if they look like you. Then you'll have empathy. If we saw these same images coming out of Europe with a certain group that's a certain color, they would have no problem having empathy. But because they're a different skin color or political persuasion, then all empathy goes out the door. And I have an issue with that. So if that means that I lose money because I'm offending, somebody is uncomfortable with the topic, I get that all the time. They're uncomfortable with the topic. Can't we all just get along? We're all God's children. Why are we so divided? Can't we just be comfortable? I'm not comfortable. So no, we can't be all just comfortable, because we're all not treated equal. Until we are all treated equal, then yeah, we could sing Kumbaya. But we are all not treated equal. That is a fact. It doesn't matter what you believe. It is a fact. We all are not treated equal systematically. The system is not designed to treat everybody as equal. However, we do have opportunity as an individuals to change our current financial situation, regardless of race, color, and creed. It's just some others have it a little easier than others. That's why I love the whole crypto space. The crypto space is not designed by a system that's designed to keep a certain race behind. Everybody is on even playing ground. Women, especially. Minorities. Countries, language. None of that is... There's no barrier to entry in this space. In the crypto space. That's why I have so much passion about it. There's also no excuse. So somebody can't say, it's because I'm black, I can't make it. You ain't got that excuse here. It's because I'm a woman, I can't make it. You ain't got that excuse here. It's because I speak a different language, I can't. You ain't got that excuse here. Crypto gives everybody an even, equal playing field. The only barrier is yourself and your willingness to learn. And your willingness to take yourself to the next level. And that can be difficult because you've got mental incarceration there. That's a whole nother topic, that's been brought down because of slavery. I mean, everything we have today, whether you're white or black, is a direct result of our ancestors and the foundation that they put in front of us. When you've had family wealth that's been passed down to generation because your family was granted access to land while another race was not granted any access to land. And what are they passing down? Debt, while your family's passing down assets. Of course, it's not going to be even playing field today. But again, lack of empathy, a certain segment of the population will never understand that. Why are you still bringing up race? Why are you still talking about that? As if we're not still victims of it. But I think I've talked long enough on that topic, and I am really I am really biting my tongue as to what I could say in a professional way. I'm really biting my tongue right now, because I am walking on eggshells, and I'm walking a fine line. But I just wanted to make it a point that I will not compromise when it comes to racism. And I don't care what business I'm in or who may be offended. Because if I offend you when it comes to racism, then you're exactly the type of person I don't want to be doing business with anyway. Because I know what you're about. If you're the type of individual that can't show empathy for a fellow human being, not American being, but a human being, I don't want to do business with you anyway. And let this one spin your head. I am for strong border security. I have no problem. I think I even did a thesis back in college where I said we need to build a big ass wall across the southern border. I'm for that. I know about Jamil Shaw, who was killed by an illegal immigrant because the damn police let him out of jail and he goes and kills somebody. I know the crimes that come from illegal immigration, MS-13, the drugs and stuff, but I also know that a lot of it is being allowed to happen by the CIA and our own governments. Republicans want illegal immigration. Why? Because they have a whole working force. They have a whole work base. Democrats want illegal immigration because you're increasing the minority population that can be good voters for the Democratic cause. So both of them want illegal immigration for different reasons. And I wrote a thesis about that. I am very strong on that. I believe we need to have strong border security and that it needs to be done the right way. We can't have open borders. We can't have a flood coming in. We can't have anchor babies. But there's also a humane way of doing it. And what's taking place right now is not humane. And if you're going to sit there and try to justify it any other way, this is exactly what took place in Germany. Exactly. If you know, see, most people only know Hitler and World War II. You got to go back 15 years before that on how Germany led up to that. Most people don't know that history. And history repeats itself. And what we're seeing right now, I gotta be careful what I say. Use your own judgment. I mean, you're smart. What we see that's taking place right now. But what can you do about it if you're not the type of individual that wants to stand up and speak out about it? What you can do is take care of your family. Take care of you cannot rely on the government to save you. You cannot rely on the banks to save you. I believe in what Jim Rohn said. Build a financial wall around your house so high that nothing can penetrate it. And when you're in that position, you have the resources to take matters in your own hand and to help, to be able to give back to charity, be able to do things like when Puerto Rico had the hurricane and our government sat on its ass. There were individuals that rented planes. Somehow people were able to get supplies into Puerto Rico, but the government couldn't. So you have the resources to give back. You have the resources to do those things. Ron Ross sent me an article that Akon is starting going to have a whole city in Africa, call it a crypto city. I'm going to cover that tonight on Crypto Talk. So as humans, as beings, like churches that open up their doors for the homeless, for the shelter, and to give back to the community. Akon having a whole Bitcoin city in Africa. I think that's awesome. Citizens being able... Did you know there was a whole brigade out of Florida that had hired boats sending aid to Puerto Rico because our government for some reason couldn't figure it out? So that's what you can do. You can show empathy that way. But don't come on my page because I post against racism, blatant, overt racism, and you want to play semantics with me. I ain't gonna have that. I don't care who you are, if you're in my business or not. I'm a Morehouse man. I'm not a sellout. And I won't compromise on that. And I always will stand up and lead the way and lead by example. And if that offends you because you're uncomfortable by it, you can take a hike. I don't give a... Gotta watch my mouth here. I'm on live. I won't compromise that. Because even if I do, I will get called out by my Morehouse brothers. Like, you got a platform, you're speaking, and you ain't saying nothing. You know, I have to. So with that, I hope, you know, you guys learned a little bit about me more. You might learn a little bit more about me, where I stand on things. Again, I will try not to talk about politics and religion. We take care of business. My door is open door to all people. All people. Republicans, Democrats, libertarians, white people, black people, Latino, male, female, Asian, gay, bisexual, transgender. You don't have to have the same beliefs of me for me to do business with you. But you better not bring racism into the mix, or I'll be done with you at that point. You have the right to be a racist. You have the right to, you feel that minorities are taking over America and you want to put an end to that. You want to make America great again. You got a right for that. And I will always defend your right. If you want to protest it, I'll defend your right to protest, even if I don't believe in what you're protesting. I can't say the same for you because it's interrupting your good old football. But I'll defend your right to protest any injustice that you see. And I'll march with you. But I won't tolerate racism. So with that, I hope you guys have a great day. I got things I got to do. I will be back for Late Night Crypto Talk. Late Night Crypto Talk. We got a couple of things we're going to talk about. And tomorrow night, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. What time is it right now? I think I went past the 12 p.m. and I apologize. We had a Cryptogenics presentation at 3 p.m. Eastern. But at 9 p.m. tonight, you're going to hear from CEO Stephen McCullough of Cryptogenics. So come on and listen to that. Get some crypto education, because that is going to save you in the future. That is going to save you. So goodbye, everybody. Racist, you can suck. You can go to hell. I won't put up with it. And if you come on my page trying to justify inhumane actions, I ain't going to put up with that either. Keep it to yourself. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cryptogenics.